This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. Well, praise God. Welcome to our Apple Watch Cafe, folks. We've got 2 sessions here this week. We're excited to share with you basics of the Apple Watch and answer any questions you might have about the Apple Watch. And then next week is our iPad class. We're very excited about that. That starts 1 week from today on Monday, February the 16th, and goes all the way through the end of May. If you've not checked out the details on that, they are in the newsletter. We've sent out several newsletters with details and the sort of overhauled curriculum. We've redesigned that from the ground up, and we also shared a voiceover primer to make sure that you are ready to hit the ground running in the iPad course. And so if you feel you need to refresh your voiceover skills a little bit, that'd be a great way to do it. And that can be found on our podcast, the voiceover primer. And of course, you can get more details and you can even register for the iPad class right on our website. To do that, what you'll want to do is go to the free resources, and then where we talk about the classes, we have a link to our current training schedule, and so you can see all the details there and anything you need. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about the Apple Watch today and give you some demos, kind of what to expect. I have an Apple Watch Series 10. They are up to the Series 11 now, and then of course they do have the SE model. They also have a choice, when you purchase your Apple Watch, and we're not going to get into the numerous case options and band options and all of that. We kind of decided that that's something that you need to explore and decide for yourself what's going to work best for you. It would just take us too long to go through all the possibilities, because Apple's really made it possible for you to customize these things to the hilt and design the Apple Watch that is just right for you. What I do want to point out is that there are 2 basic versions, and again, that's not getting into the size differences and all of that, but 2 basic versions. There is what's known as the GPS model, and then the GPS Plus cellular model. So all models are going to work off of Wi-Fi, and it may be that they connect directly to Wi-Fi. It may be that they connect through your phone. It just depends on the circumstances. But when you don't have your phone nearby, they will not connect to cellular. If you have your phone nearby, they'll use your iPhone's connection, one way or another. If you want something that can operate completely independent of your iPhone, that is the GPS Plus cellular model. Now, when you get GPS Plus cellular, you can typically add your Apple Watch to your iPhone plan for a very reasonable price. And again, it's going to allow you, even when the phone is not with you, you'll still have cellular service on the watch. And, I've heard of people who use this and it's very important to them. Maybe they like to go out for a run and they leave their iPhone behind, and so they have the internet connection on their watch and they can make and receive calls on their watch. I heard somebody talk once about, going out on a boat and not having to be concerned about taking the phone with them because they could just, answer the calls right on their watch when they're on the water and so forth. So there are definitely situations where people like this and want to do this. Now, when we start the iPad class, we'll talk about how that works with the iPad models, and I definitely use the cellular capability on the iPads. I personally don't actually have my watch on cellular because for me, I always do have my phone with me. So it's just not something that I feel is necessary. My watch actually has the cellular capability because I got it on a promotion through my cellular carrier. So it definitely has that ability. But once I fulfilled the requirement with the carrier, I did not keep cellular service on the watch anymore. Um, Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is that the watch does require an iPhone to be set up. When you use the watch, it must be paired with an iPhone. And there's a couple of ways that this can be done. The cellular models can actually be set up in a specific mode for children that works best with school environments and so on. But all models have to be in some form used with an iPhone for at least the basic setup, and they have to have a phone that can sort of control them if necessary. The Watch app used to be called the Apple Watch app, but it just says Watch, is on your iPhone by default, or if you've removed it, you can always re-download it from the App Store. And it is going to allow you to set up your watch and manage your watch. Um, so just like anything else, before you begin, you're going to want to make sure that your phone is signed into the correct Apple account. You're going to want to make sure you have two-factor authentication set up for your Apple account. And you're going to want to make sure also that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are turned on your iPhone. And then it's just a matter of making sure you have, you know, internet service on your phone through either Wi-Fi or cellular when you get started. You will um, you will put the watch on your wrist and turn it on. Now, how do you turn it on? Well, we're going to talk about that. There are basically two buttons. Now, there's a third watch category that I didn't um, talk about because, again, we didn't talk about the specific. I mentioned the Series 11 and the SE, but there is a third one, and it is the Apple Watch Ultra. It actually has an extra button on it, but I'm not going to spend much time on that. Now, that watch is, it's really designed for extremely rugged um, environments. So people who are hikers, mountain climbers, deep sea divers, that kind of thing, it makes sense for those scenarios more than anything else. Um, there are some people who are not, uh, that don't do those kinds of things, who decide to opt for the Ultra anyway because of the additional battery life. But there's a lot of extra cost, and they're very rugged, so it's a different design. And to me, it just makes sense. Just charge your Apple Watch and be done with it. It doesn't, but it's personal preference, like we always say. So there are some folks who may have an Ultra, but we're going to focus primarily on the other watches, and those watches have two buttons specifically. Now, when you have your watch on your wrist, you will find that there is a sort of round feeling button that almost feels like a dial. And then the other one, on the newest models, it's actually pretty difficult to feel. You can feel it a little bit with your fingernail, and it certainly does push in. It's a long button beside the dial feeling button. So let's give those the proper terminology, because it tends to be that Apple gives names to these, and we may not always know what they are. And we want to make sure we're speaking the same language here. So let's define these properly. The button that is round, that feels like a dial, is known as the digital crown. The digital crown. And that comes from, I guess, chronography and watches and so forth, where the regular dial is technically called a crown. on a watch. Well, this is the Digital Crown. It will give you the ability to quickly scroll through lists by turning it like a dial. You can turn it rapidly to move through long menus and long lists, and you can, in some cases, turn it to adjust volume or other features and other settings. So it's a great way to move with the Digital Crown in some cases. And then you can also press and hold the Digital Crown. A quick press of the Digital Crown will typically return you to the home screen or to the clock. And I'll talk about that difference here in a moment, but it'll take you back to sort of the starting place. And if you press and hold the crown, it will actually allow you to speak to SIRI on your watch without having to say the wake word or anything. You can just press and hold the crown, and so that's one of the neat ways to talk to it. Now, um, the other button, the one that I said is the sort of long button that's kind of rather difficult to feel. It is just known as the side button, and so the side button is going to do several things for us. I'll show you in a little bit. But for right now, the side button is how you're going to turn the watch on in the first place. When you get it out of the box, you're going to press and hold the side button for about 4 or 5 seconds. And those who can see, they'll see an Apple logo, of course. But it's about 4 to 5 seconds. Press and hold that side button and then let it go. And that is going to turn the watch on. The watch will take probably a good solid minute to boot up and be ready. And you can open the watch app and you can, get started then pairing the watch to your phone. And if it's the first time, it's going to ask you which wrist you're wearing it on and so on. If it is, replacing another watch, or if it for some reason is a factory reset sort of situation, you can always restore from a backup because the watch does back up to iCloud. So the setup process is pretty straightforward. There is a step in the process where you are expected to pair the watch to the phone. And for that, you're asked to hold the watch in such a way up to the camera. I can tell you that even sighted users sometimes struggle with this. I've worked with multiple sighted users, fully sighted, who just find it difficult to align them just right. And then I've had other people do it properly, both sighted and non-sighted. So I'll just say that's personal preference. You can try it, or there's an option to authenticate manually, which is what I usually do when I set up an Apple Watch. What'll happen is the one device will display a code. If I remember right, I think it's the watch that displays a code, and you enter that code on your phone. But that pairs the two devices together. And once that pairing is done, it's complete, then you're good to go and finish the setup of the watch. So the setup process is going to allow you to install apps on the watch. And we're going to spend a lot of time, maybe some today and then a lot of time tomorrow, discussing how apps work on the watch. Because one of the things that you need to understand is that when the watch was designed, it was not really designed to be, and we're going to come back to this. I just want to mention it briefly right now, and then I'll go into much more detail about it later. But the watch was not really designed to be a full-fledged device for all of your tasks that you do. It was never designed to be an alternative to the iPhone. Rather, it's designed to supplement the iPhone. It is designed to be a device that you use for quick glances at different information, maybe some quick tasks that are just very straightforward, very simple, and then you might continue in a bigger way on your iPhone, that sort of thing. Now, having said that, there are the watch does run full-fledged apps. There are some app developers who have gone ahead and released specific versions just for the watch of a particular app, or maybe a watch-only app, and the functionality has definitely increased in many ways. And that's, kind of, again, then just comes down to personal preference, what you do with it. But for the most part, it's still kind of meant to be an extension of the phone. And I think for obvious reasons, right? The size of the watch sort of dictates that in the first place. But there are times that we do things on the watch that are still very powerful. And so I think the watch is sort of different things to different people. And I don't know if Trainer Cliff's going to be able to be in here today because I know he's got a work event going on. I'm going to look for Trainer Sarah in a few minutes and see if she's here because I want to get her take on how she uses the watch. As I say, it's sort of different for everybody. For me, the watch is definitely a secondary device. It's a great way to um, quickly see various notifications and reply to messages if I just want to say something simple like okay or sure or thanks or something like that. When I want to do anything more in depth than that, I use the phone or the iPad. The watch can be a great way to set timers, although in our kitchen we also have home pods. So I typically use those when I'm cooking in the kitchen or what have you. But it is definitely another way to set a quick timer or multiple timers. Um, it is, it can be a nice way to control your HomeKit devices. We did a few sessions over the last couple of week, I guess last week, 3 sessions on the HomePod and the Smart Home and Apple HomeKit and so on. So it's a great way to control your HomeKit devices. Unlock your door or open your garage door, something like that, very quickly. Um, and one of the things that is kind of neat is it does have the reminders app, and so you can use it to with your grocery lists, for example. In the store, I can check off items as I'm walking through the store without having to pull out my iPhone. There are some cool use cases. You can actually use it as a remote for your Apple TV, which is kind of neat. And it doesn't give you all the functionality that the regular remote has, but it does give you a good portion of the functionality. Um, and so again, I'm anxious to talk to Sarah to see how what she does with it and sort of discuss these things further um, as we progress through the sessions. Now, the reason I've said all this right now is because you're going to be given the opportunity to decide what apps are installed on your watch from your phone. And so I will explain that a little bit more as we get started because we need to talk extensively about notifications and how apps work. So we will get into that in just a couple of minutes. What I would recommend during the initial setup is to just go ahead and let it install, um, and then you can sort of remove the ones that you don't want later on. I'm going to go in and actually show this to you a little bit on the phone because remember, the Watch app has many of your Apple Watch settings. So the Watch app is on your iPhone. If you hear me say do that in the Watch app, you know that I mean use your iPhone to do it and go into the Watch app. And then there's also settings on your watch itself, but they're not as robust as what's on the phone. So it just depends on the setting that you need to modify where you do the modification. When your watch is fully set up, you're going to get this little tour that shows you on the watch what button to push to do different things, which we've kind of already talked about a little bit, the digital crown and the side button, and you get this like 5-step tutorial. It's very, very quick. And once it's finished, you are taken to the sort of starting place on your watch. Now, where is that starting place? Well, because your watch is first and foremost a watch, that starting place is always the clock. And the clock is actually an app on your watch. It's called Clock. Imagine that. But it sort of is the app that opens by default, and you always end up back at the clock. Um, this is so that you can quickly access the time, obviously. And there are some other things you can access that we're going to talk about in a moment. But before we do that, I just want to say that when you're on the clock, if you press the digital crown, it will take you to the home screen where you can see all of your apps. If you press the crown again, it takes you back to the clock. Or if you do nothing, if you are on the home screen or you're in an app and you wait for a period of time, the watch will go to sleep. And then if you wait for another period of time, the watch will automatically go back to the clock again. And these are customizable settings, right? You can customize how long it waits and so forth, in your settings. But that is the default. It's gonna go back, and that's going to allow you to always quickly access the time. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can customize our clock face or watch face, and we can have many watch faces available on our Apple Watch. In the Apple Watch app on the iPhone, there is a section called Faces or the Face Gallery, and the Face Gallery allows you to see many, many faces that are available, and you can install them or download them to your watch. Once you've downloaded them to your watch, you don't need the watch app to choose the face later. You can do it directly on your watch. But you have to sort of download the faces onto your watch first that you think you might want. And there are numerous watch faces available. And just to give you some examples, there are some that have different images. There's a motion watch face. I believe they still have it. That has you can have either a flower that looks like it's blooming or a jellyfish or different things like that. There are Disney watch faces where you can have like Mickey Mouse and he taps his foot to the seconds in order to keep time. And when you tap on the watch, it's actually Mickey's voice that announces the time. And you can do it with Minnie as well. Minnie Mouse, that's another one. And then they have some Toy Story watch faces. There are some artist watch faces. There are watch faces that have like the solar system, the sundial, the moon, the planets, the Earth. There are just tons of watch faces, and I would encourage you to look through them because the uh, the iPhone voiceover will give you a description of the watch faces, and you can decide maybe I want to add this to my collection on the watch, so I want to download it to the watch, and then later on I might want to use it. So there are lots of watch faces. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I am going to tell you how to access them. So I'm going to put the original sound on here because I think you'll be able to hear my watch relatively. It might be a little quiet. Done button. Okay. I think you'll get it. So let me tap on the watch here. Unread notifications. Unread 2:26 p.m. And when I swipe left and right with one finger, now what's left and what's right? So I'm sort of holding my arm across my body, using my right hand to swipe. The watch is on my left wrist. So if I swipe left, 2:27 p.m. and to the right, walkie-talkie, status bar item, walkie-talkie, 2:27 p.m. And that's all that I have on my watch face. The watch face I have currently is very minimal. It's actually called Liquid Glass. This is a watch face that was introduced with watchOS 26 to coincide with the release of the Liquid Glass design. And so that is the watch face that I have because you can actually see like the liquid moving, and it's sort of, I guess, translucent, and it looks really cool. But one thing it doesn't have is a lot of complications. Now, a complication is a you could kind of compare it to like a widget on your iPad or your iPhone. It gives you access to information that you might want right on your watch face. So I'm going to switch to a watch face that I have some complications on just to show you that as well. Let's now my watch has gone to sleep. So again, I lift my wrist. It doesn't speak on wrist raise. You can choose that option. But when I tap the screen, it will wake up if it's not already. 2:28 p.m. All right. Now, when I'm on the time, 2:28 p.m. If I swipe up or down with one finger, we actually have rotor actions because you have a rotor on the watch.
Control center. Notification center. Show widgets. Customize watch face. Activate. Default.
Look at all those options. Control center, notification center, show widgets, which there are actual widgets, and they sort of allow you to do the same thing as the complications do. And then you have customize watch face, which is how we change watch faces or customize the one that we've got right now. Now, again, before you can change the watch face, you need to download some watch faces to your watch, but I know I have some on here. Another thing we can do when the watch face is on the screen is we can turn the digital crown away from us, and that will also bring up the widgets. And that's why I'm not too concerned about complications, because I can actually have widgets that are not on the main watch face, but that I can quickly access. So let me just show you that. Again, this is the watch face.
2:29 p.m.
All I have
2:29 p.m. Walkie-talkie. Walkie-talkie.
is the time and the status. But
2:29 p.m.
I'm going to now turn my digital crown away from me.
Widgets. Monday. UV index. Ultraviolet index data unavailable. 5 unread messages. Music. Currently cloudy in Everett. 30 degrees. H 31 degrees. Current temperature is 30 degrees. Highest is 31 degrees. Lowest is 2 degrees. 2:29 p.m. Monday. 2:29 p.m. and 52 seconds.
That has the seconds.
Currently music. 5 unread. UV index.
See what else.
Too low.
Oh, now they got the data.
UV index. Too low.
2.
Actions available.
It's low.
Monday, February 9th. No more events. Your day is clear.
Because we're already
Actions
in.
available. Move ring. 2%. Edit button. Edit button.
The edit button allows us to change what widgets we can see. But you heard that I have the weather, I have the UV index, I have my calendar, and it shows me that there are no more events today. We have an event right now going on, but that's the only thing I have on the calendar for today now. And it had the music widget, so I could quickly open that up. Notice it took a few seconds for the UV data to load, but then it was there. So you can add all kinds of things to your widgets and just quickly access them by turning the crown away from you when you're on the clock. And so I wasn't too concerned about complications being on the watch face because I could access the widgets. Now my watch, of course, has gone to sleep, and it's going to just bring me back to the time when I wake it up and the watch face.
2:31 p.m.
Now, if I swipe down,
Control center.
Let's double tap on that.
Control alert. iPhone connected. Walkie-talkie available. Do not disturb. On. Accessibility.
All right, that's sort of a summary.
iPhone connected.
But let's swipe to the right.
Cellular. Switch button off.
I told you
double tap to toggle setting.
I don't have cellular on this watch, so that's why that's off.
Wi-Fi. Switch button on.
Okay.
Ping iPhone button.
Ping iPhone is really cool. If I double tap that, it'll...
Ping iPhone button.
Well, I'll just show you what it does.
Alert.
It lets me know where my phone is. It played a sound on my phone.
Close button.
Now, moving my wrist, and it told me it found my iPhone, and it did. My iPhone was right there. But you can see how useful that could be at different times when you might not know where your iPhone is. Let's see what else we have in Control Center.
Battery 97% button.
There's the battery status.
Silent mode. Switch button off.
Silent mode, it mutes the sounds.
Theater mode. Switch button off.
Theater mode is a little different from silent mode. It does silence it, but it keeps notifications coming, but dims the screen.
Focus. Switch button.
Now, focus is how you would actually prevent notifications from coming in altogether. Because silent mode isn't going to do that. So normally when I am in a performance concert or something, I do all of the above. I turn on theater mode, silent mode, and a focus mode, because then I know. So,
focus. Switch button on.
And there is a focus on right now. It's do not disturb. It told us that, remember?
Flashlight. Switch button off.
We have a flashlight we can turn on there.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode. And I kind of waited a while and it went to sleep there, I think. Let's just go back and get the Control Center again. But okay, there we go. Control Center. And where were we? All right. Okay. And then let's see. Volume. AirPlay.
Hearing devices. Text side. Walkie-talkie.
Let's see if there's
Accessibility
anything
panel.
else really
Button
interesting.
heading. Button.
Yeah, you can access the walkie-talkie settings, whether the walkie-talkie feature is enabled or not. We'll talk about that feature. That's actually one of my favorite features. I like that a lot. AirPlay, allows you to choose a speaker to play music or what have you from your watch. The latest watches, the Series 10 and above, the Ultra, I think 3, and I'm not sure about the current SE, but the other models, they can play music and audio books directly through the watch, so you don't have to use a separate device. If you want to listen to music or read an audiobook right from your wrist, you can do that. But certainly you may want better sound, and so you can use your iPhone for that, or a Bluetooth speaker, or your AirPods, or something else on your Wi-Fi network if you have HomePods or other things. So the AirPlay option is going to let you control that. Now that is Control Center, and there's also Notification Center. You heard that was available there from the clock face. And the one I want to look at a little bit here is the Customize Watch Face option, because I do want to show you the way to put the complications on your watch face if it supports it. Now the thing about the watch faces is that it'll tell you if they support complications. Not all watch faces do, and that's what the situation is with the Liquid Glass watch face. It just doesn't support complications. But let's go ahead in here, and what we'll do is we'll
Walkie-talkie. 2:35 p.m. Customize watch face.
I swiped up, double tap.
To flow. Custom. Flow. Add new face. Modular.
All right. So what we're going to do
Infograph.
is listen to some of
Motion.
these a little bit.
Customizable. Motion. Customizable. 3 complications. Conditions. Today's date. Heart rate.
That one
The motion
currently
face.
has 3 complications. The watch face was called, I think that was it Infograph? No, that one has 8 complications. Must have been, where was I? Motion. That's the one. And that is the one that has the jellyfish or the flower. I think it's also got a butterfly as another option. So maybe we'll take a look at that. I think I actually have more than one version of it, because I have, I have 3. One is the butterfly, one's the jellyfish, and one's the flower. Here's one though that has Infograph has 8 complications.
Infograph. Customizable.
All right, so it will allow me to double tap on it to select it, or I can use the rotor actions to choose to customize it. The other thing is that at the end here there's an add new watch face button, and you can do that too. But listen to,
Infograph. Customize.
whoops, when I put my wrist down, I need to keep my wrist held up, and I'm trying to lower it down to the iPad so you can hear it better. Let me try something else here. Let's see if we can do it this way, because I definitely want to make sure
Add new face.
that you can.
Flow. Modular. Infograph. Customizable. 8 complications. UV index. Temperature. Timer. Cupertino. Heart rate. Activity rings. Mindfulness. Workout. The infograph face makes the most of precise, information-rich complications. Inspired by classic sport watches, this face features up to 8 complication slots. Double tap to choose face. Swipe up or down to select a custom action.
See?
Then double tap to activate.
So you get all the details. Let's go back to
Motion. Customizable. 3 complications. Conditions. Today's date. Heart rate. The motion face is available in 3 collections. The flower collection depicts 9 flowers from bud to bloom, a process that spans from hours to weeks. Depending on the species, using thousands of time-lapse images, a different flower blooms every time you raise your wrist or tap the display. Double tap to choose face. Swipe up or down to select.
that one. Must have the flower, because it said about the flowers. Let's check this one out.
Complications. Conditions. Today's date. Heart rate. The motion face is available in 3 collections. The butterfly collection features 25 species that each move naturally. A different butterfly appears every time you raise your wrist or tap the display. Double tap to choose face.
And then let's go over here and
Flaw.
see if we can.
Motion. Customizable. 3 complications. Conditions. Today's date. Hard rate. The motion face is available in 3 collections. The jellyfish collection features 6 species of jellyfish shot in slow motion. A different jellyfish emerges every time you raise your wrist or tap the display. Double tap to
Okay,
choose face.
hopefully you can hear
Swipe
that
up.
pretty well. Let's just pretend we want to customize one of
Motion.
these.
Infograph.
Infograph. Remember, if I double tap, it
Customize
selects it, but if I
infograph.
use the rotor,
Customize edit. Delete. Activate. Edit.
edit. Now,
Color. White selected. Option 20. Color. White selected. Option 20 of 174.
all right,
Adjustable.
color.
Turn the digital crown to customize this item. Swipe left or right to choose a different item. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
So you can turn the crown to customize the color, or you can swipe up or down with one finger.
Color. White selected. Option 20 of 100. Color. Black selected. Option 21 of 174. Adjustable. Color. Neon. Anchor blue selected. Option 20. Color. Forest selected. Option 25. Color. Turmeric selected. Option color. Caramel selected.
Look at all these different colors.
Color. Navy selected. Option color. Sage gray selected. Option color. Midnight purple selected. Midnight purple. So tap to add more colors.
Okay, you can tap to add more colors.
Color. Midnight purple selected.
We're going to just leave it on midnight purple for now.
Top left complication. Weather selected. Button.
All right, the top left complication is going to be weather. I'm swiping right.
Top left complication. Weather selected. Top right complication. Weather selected. Top left.
Apparently there's 2
weather selected. Top
weather
right
ones.
Weather selected.
Let's.
Subdial top complication. Hard rate selected.
I'm going to change that. You swipe up or down with one finger to change it. No.
Top subdial top complication.
You might have to double tap it first.
Selected. Button.
See.
Double tap to customize.
Yeah, you have to double tap.
Swipe left or close. Button. All apps. Heading. Activity. Alarms. Amber. Astronomy. Audiobooks. Battery. Blood oxygen. Calculator. Calendar. Camera remote.
Look at all these different choices.
Cellular.
So
calendar.
I'm going to
button.
put calendar.
Your schedule. Button.
I can have
calendar.
my
heading.
schedule.
Your schedule. Lunar date. Button.
Lunar date.
Today's date.
Today's
button.
date.
Do not disturb. Status bar.
What do I want?
Lunar. Your schedule.
I think I want my schedule.
Your schedule. Color. Midnight purple selected. Top left complication. Weather selected. Top right complication. Weather selected.
I'm not really sure why there's
Subdial top complication.
2 weather complications. Maybe they do different things. I'm going to wait and see.
Top subdial top complication. Calendar selected. Button.
Okay.
Subdial left complication. Activity selected.
I'm
Button.
going to change that.
Sub close.
Oh, let's
featured.
do.
Calendar. Featured. Heading.
Now we got
Calendar.
featured.
Battery. Messages. World clock. Astronomy. Music.
I want
astronomy.
astronomy there.
Astronomy. Color.
So.
Top left complication. Weather select. Top right complication. Weather select. Subdial top complication. Calendars. Subdial left complication. Earth selected. Button.
Earth.
Subdial right complication. Mindfulness selected.
We're going to change this one.
Back. But mindful. State of mind. Do not 240.
What do I want?
Mindful. Back. Button.
I have to go back because I'm in the
Close.
mindfulness
Mindfulness.
category.
Music. Music recognition. My Chevrolet. News. Noise.
Oh.
Mindfulness.
How about
News. Noise. Notes. Pandora. Phone. Podcast. Reminders.
reminders?
Button.
How about that?
Do today. Button. Do not disturb. Do today.
Do
button.
today?
Reminders. Heading. Do
My
today.
only choice.
Do
All
today.
right.
Color. Midnight.
Let's
color.
look
Midnight.
at.
Color. Subdial right complication.
Um,
Reminders. Top right complication. Weather selected. Subdial top complication.
We have.
Calendar select. Subdial left complication. Earth selected. Subdial right complication. Reminders. Subdial bottom complication. Workout selected. Bottom left bottom right. Bottom
3
right.
more.
Subdial
So
bottom complication. Workout selected.
let's change this.
Close. Weather button.
to
Wallet. Walkie-talkie. Voice map. Vitals. Translate.
Walkie-talkie.
Button.
Let's do that.
Walkie-talkie. Do not disturb.
Okay.
Walkie-talkie. Button.
Double tap to
Walkie-talkie.
confirm that.
Color. Midnight
Now
purple
I've
selected.
got almost
Top-
all of them done. I got 2 more I can do.
Bottom left complication. Timers selected.
Timers,
Bottom
actually,
right
that's not bad.
complication. Cupertino selected.
That must be a
Button.
world clock.
Back.
I'll change
Button.
that.
Cupertino, New York. Sunrise
yeah.
/ sunset. World clock. Heading. Sunrise / sunset.
Sunrise, sunset actually would be cool to have on there, I guess.
We're back.
Yeah, I want to go back and see what else.
World clock off. Button. Do not off.
You can turn it
Button.
off.
Workout. Weather. Wallet.
Weather.
Walkie-talkie.
Wallet.
Voice memos. Translate. Tips. Timers. Tides.
How about,
Stopwatch,
tides would be neat. You can
stopwatch,
actually,
stocks,
I'll talk about
Starbucks,
tides.
sleep, shortcut,
But
sleep,
how
short,
about
remote, Reminder. Pandora. No.
And remember, you can
News.
still use the
Budget.
apps for
Music.
these things.
Music.
You don't have to have them
Blindfold.
all on your watch
Messages.
face.
Medicate. Maps. Mail. But I've. But
Maps would
but
be
I've. But home.
cool.
Hi. Hello. Heart rate. Gavi home. Find people.
I'm
Find
just
item.
trying to think
Find
what I
device.
want
ECG.
on
Depth.
here.
But step. Cycle
There's a
tracking.
depth
But contacts.
meter.
Compass. But cellular. Camera remote.
I actually
Calendar.
kind of think
Calculator. Blood oxygen.
I want
Battery. Button.
the
Audiobooks.
date,
Blood
like
oxygen.
today's
Calculator.
date,
Calendar. Camera remote. Cellular. Compass.
or
Calendar.
the moon
Button.
phase. Let's just
Calculator.
do
Calendar. Button.
today's date because
Your
I know
schedule.
right where it
Button.
is.
Lunar date. Button. Today's date. Button. Today's date.
Okay.
Color. Midnight purple selected. Option
Now what
30
we
of
do is we
170.
go,
Color. Top left bottom right complication.
we just press the
Bottom right
digital
complication.
crown
Today's date
to get
selected.
out of that.
Infograph.
And now we're going to
Motion.
double tap on infograph to actually
Customizable.
select it.
Complications.
Notice,
UV index. Temperature. Timer. Today's date. Your schedule. Earth. Due today. Walkie-talkie.
okay,
2:44 p.m. and 26 seconds.
notice this watch has a second hand on it. Remember I said those two weather complications must do different things, and they do. One says temperature, one says UV index. So now let's swipe left and right on my watch face.
30 degrees. 2:44 p.m. and 40 seconds.
Swipe left.
30 degrees. High. 31. Low. 2. Walkie-talkie. Status bar item. UV. 2.
UV index is
Swipe
2.
up. UV. Walkie. 30 degrees. 2:44 p.m. and 54
Swiping
seconds.
right.
Monday. February 9. Next event. 5:30 p.m. Take my pill.
That's actually a
Swipe
reminder.
up. A real-time view of Earth. Current location on Earth. Latitude.
It
40
tells me my
degrees.
current location on
Longitude.
Earth.
Reminders. Walkie-talkie.
And then
Time. Walkie-talkie.
that's how you open the walkie-talkie. The other one was the status symbol,
Timer. Monday. February 9.
right?
Monday.
And
Timer.
for example, timer, if I double tap it, it takes me
Timer. Close.
right
Button.
into the timer.
Timers. Heading.
Let's
All timers. Heading. 1 minute. Button.
I'm waiting for that thing
3
that
minutes.
thought
Button.
I talked to it.
1 minute.
Okay, it
Button.
did. Let's say
1 minute.
1
Button.
minute. Double tap on that.
Add. Button. 58 seconds. 56 seconds.
It's counting down, but let me press the crown. And
Widgets.
if you
Monday. February
now
9.
if you're on the
Watch
clock,
face. 2:45. Monday. A real-time view. Reminders. Walkie-talkie. 0:45. Timer.
notice now the
Actions available.
remaining time on the timer actually shows up on the watch face because I have that complication. And of course, here in a moment, the timer will go off when it reaches 0 because I picked a 1 minute timer. So the watch has gone to sleep, and we'll just wait for that timer to go off. We'll show you what that's like. But notice that I'm able to see it on the clock on the watch face because I put the timer complication on there. All right, should be any second now. And we will hear the sound, and I'll feel a tapping on my wrist like a haptic. There it is.
Done. 1 minute. Dismiss.
I'm
Button.
gonna dismiss that.
Repeat.
You can
Button.
repeat it,
Dismiss.
but I'm gonna dismiss it. Now, this is all the watch face, and you notice that you can have tons of different things on the watch face. Most of the watch faces do not support that many complications. I wanted to show you infograph specifically because it does support a lot of them. But you have the other extreme, like the liquid glass one, that really only that doesn't actually support any complications. You heard that motion supports 3. There are some that support 2 or 4, just different amounts. It just kind of comes down to what you like. Some people even have multiple watch faces set up so that they can quickly switch to a different watch face depending on what they're doing, and then that already is configured the way they want it with all of their complications. Now, when you want to actually see all of your apps, you press the crown. So here I am on my watch face again.
A real Monday. February 9.
And I'll
Next
press
event.
I'll press the crown.
Apps. Activity.
Now we have the apps, and listen
Activity.
as I swipe to the right.
Alarms. Amber. American. App Store. Apple Store. Audiobooks. Blood oxygen. Calculator. Calendar.
Now if I turn the crown rapidly, I can go far in the list. I'm on the C's right now, but I'm turning the crown.
Medication.
I'm all the way to the M.
Marriott. Notes.
The N's, turning it again.
Sleep.
There's the S's.
Starbucks.
Now I'm swiping right.
Stocks. Stopwatch. Tides.
Oop.
Stopwatch. Tides. Timers. Tips. Translate. Basing. Vitals. Voice memos. Walkie-talkie. Wallet. Weather.
As we get to the end here,
Workout. World clock. Yell. Zoom. Grid view. Button. Grid view.
notice there's a button that I can change this to grid view. I actually have it set up in a list. My daughter says the grid view looks a lot nicer than the list, but I like to keep it. The reason I keep it in the list is because it automatically alphabetizes all the apps then, so I know exactly where something is. The grid view, you kind of can move them around however you want in a circle, but then, you sort of have to remember where things are. So I just tend to use the list view more often in my list of apps. Now, any of these that I want, I can double tap, and many of these are Apple apps, and many are third-party apps. They separate some of the common Apple apps into multiple apps. You may have noticed, like there's a separate app for timers, a separate app for stopwatch. You know, the clock obviously is its own app. Alarms is a separate app. So there's some apps that are separated like that. You heard that I have the, things like Starbucks, the American Airlines app. There's lots and lots of apps that I have on here. And again, their functionality will vary just depending on what I do. But the basic idea is that these are extensions of what's on the iPhone. If I open the Apple Watch app on my iPhone, I can choose which apps are installed on my watch. And if I go to the watch app on the phone now, I'll show you that because I think this is important.
Photos.
All right, I've got that turned up enough. Let's go to my
settings. Search.
watch
Page 2.
app.
Edit. iTunes app. Voice. Tran. Watch. Double. Watch. General. Back button.
All right, I'm in my
Software update.
software
Variable
update
navigation.
category because I was doing a software update on the watch recently, but let's go back.
General. Back button.
General, back again.
Matthews Apple Watch. Back button.
All right.
All watches. Button.
And we can even go to all watches if you have more than one watch. But at the bottom of the screen, we have
Tab bar. All watches selected. My watch. Tab. 1 of 3. Face gallery. Tab. 2 of 3. Discover. Tab. 3 of 3.
and I sort of told you about that with the face gallery. But we're in the tab I want, and I'm in my watch. And so it's going to look a lot like the settings app because it's basically your watch settings. So if you look here on the screen,
All watches. Button. Matthews Apple Watch. Heading. Search settings. Dictate. My faces. Heading. Edit faces. Button.
so we can edit the faces that are available.
Meridian. Metropolitan. Playtime. Astronomy. Artist. Mickey Mouse. Flux. Flux. Motion. Motion. Motion.
We knew we had 3 of those.
Infograph. Modular. Flow. Flow. Notifications. Button.
Now we're past the watch faces. We're to other categories. Notifications.
Smart Stack. Button. Control Center. App View. General. Cellular. Display and brightness. Gestures. Accessibility. Siri. Button.
Smart Stack is like your widgets, by the way. If I go past all of these options, though, what I'm going to notice is that pretty soon, once it gets past like privacy, it's going to start listing the apps and giving me the settings for those apps.
Activity. App Store. Audiobooks. Blood oxygen. Calendar. Clock. Contacts. Cycle tracking. Depth. Find my.
Now notice these are the built-in Apple apps. So let's rapidly go past those and see if we then get our
Tips. Vitals. Walkie-talkie. Wallet and Apple Pay. Weather. Workout. Nike Run Club. Button. Installed on Apple Watch. Heading.
Yep. See, installed on Apple Watch. Now these are our third-party apps.
Amber. Button. American. Button. Apple Store. Button. Canary. Button. FedEx. Button.
So if I double tap on one of these, like let's say FedEx,
Show app on Apple Watch. Switched button. On.
it says
Double tap to toggle settings.
show app on Apple Watch. If I want to remove the app from the watch, I just double tap on that toggle to turn it off, and it will not be on there. It'll delete it from the watch. You can still get notifications from it, which I'll explain in a moment. But right now I'm showing you how to add and remove apps.
Tab bar. So Matthews Apple Watch. Back button.
Upper left corner, let's go back. So
FedEx.
you're going to find that there may be some apps not installed if you remove them or if you don't choose to install all of them. So let's go down further past this here.
Residio.
I did a three-finger scroll up to get there more quickly.
Sky Guide.
By all these
button,
apps.
Starbucks. VSync. Yelp. Zoom. But available apps. Heading.
Now notice, available apps. This is the section of apps that are on my phone that can be installed on the watch. Not all of them can, because some of them don't have a watch app equivalent, but these are the ones now that are available to install from my iPhone to the watch, but that I don't currently have installed.
Barclays US. Install button.
See, and then to its right, there's an install button.
MyQ. Install button. Vertical scroll bar.
And I only have
7P.
2 that are not currently installed on the watch. So looking back at that, I don't know if all of these really need to be on the watch or not, but I've got them all on there. I guess I must have gone through this. I know I did.
Barclays.
You know, to see
Zoom. Yelp.
Zoom, of course. Now, I don't really use Zoom on the watch, but it's there in case I want to control the meeting a little bit that way. And
VSync.
VSync is my toaster oven app, you know.
Starbucks.
So all the
Sky
Starbucks and
Residio.
all of that. So this is where you install and remove apps right in the watch app. The other thing one more thing I want to show you today, and then we're going to see if Sarah. I know Sarah has to leave a bit early, so I don't know how long she'll have if she's with us, but we'll get some comments from her and then get your questions. But I want to show you one other thing, and that is the notifications section, way back up at the top of this screen.
Notification center.
Whoop.
Notification.
Okay.
Available apps. Rows 46. Rows. Rows.
I'm gonna go
row-
way up here.
rows
Maybe
one
there's a
length of 60. Vertical scroll
Yeah,
bar.
there is.
0, 10, 0.
Okay, we're up there.
Notifications.
And there's
button.
notifications.
Notifications appear when you're wearing your Apple Watch. They won't appear on your Apple Watch when you're using your iPhone.
Okay, that's a very important first thing to know. When you have your iPhone in active use, like it's unlocked and you are using it, the notifications will not come to your watch, they'll come to your phone. When your phone goes to sleep, or you put it to sleep, or you lock the screen, then and only then will the watch get the notifications from your iPhone. The other thing is, if your phone is awake but you're talking on the phone, then the notifications may come to your watch as well. Now, how do you know what notifications you're going to get on your watch? And that's what I want to show you. I want to swipe right here.
Notifications appear when you're wearing your Apple Watch. Notifications indicator. Switched button. On. A red dot can appear at the top of your watch face when you have unread notifications.
All right, that's good.
Notification privacy. Heading. Show summary when locked. Switched button. On.
Okay.
Apple Watch can show a notification summary. Tap to show full notification. Switched button. Off.
All right,
Apple
we're going to go
Watch.
past
Show
that.
notifications on
Show
wrist down.
notifications on wrist down. I want to get to where the list is. All right, here they
Apple
are.
Watch can show your notifications even when your wrist is down. Activity button. Amber button. App Store button. Audiobooks button. Calendar button. Clock button.
Notice all these apps again.
Cycle tracking.
So if I want to look at one like Calendar,
Calendar button.
these are apps that are installed on the watch. So I double tap here.
Notifications heading.
Now,
Calendar heading. Notifications selected. Mirror my iPhone.
mirror my iPhone. So the watch is going to do whatever the iPhone does.
Custom.
Or you can customize it.
Bullet show alerts. Bullet upcoming events. On bullet invitations. On bullet invitee responses. On bullet share calendar changes. On bullet Siri found in apps. On.
That's giving us a summary of what the iPhone is set to do and what the watch is therefore going to be set to do, because it says mirror my iPhone. So basically everything's on. Upcoming event notifications, invitation notifications, and so on. Everything that the phone does, the watch will do if you choose mirror my notifications. The other option is customize, so you can decide which of these things will happen on the watch and which won't. But now what I'd like to do, go back.
Notifications. Back button. Calendar.
I want to go past the apps that are installed on the watch.
Audiobooks.
And not all of them are listed here by the... Well, that may not be true. Wait.
Clock. Cycle track. Depth.
Yeah, no, not all the ones. These are Apple apps.
Heart. Mail.
It looks
button.
like, maybe.
Audiobook.
Did I hear
App Store.
anything?
Amber.
No,
button.
there's even third-party ones. The Ombre app is here. But not all of the installed apps show up here. Some of them use a different system for delivering notifications, and then there are some apps that can mirror the notifications to the watch, even though the Apple Watch app is not installed, or maybe there is no Apple Watch app. So I'm going to go three-finger swipe up here to
Walkie-talkie.
get past
button.
the... Okay, here we go. Now,
Wallet and Apple Pay. Button. Weather. Button. Mirror iPhone alerts from Heading.
Mirror iPhone alerts from. And these are ones where either there is no Apple Watch app or the Watch app itself isn't designed to give notifications. But notice, mirror Apple,
Mirror iPhone
mirror
alerts from.
iPhone
Mirror iPhone
alerts
alerts from.
from. And let's look at what we have. Some examples.
Active Armor. Switched button. On.
Active
Double tap to
Armor. Now, that's an AT&T app that allows me to, filter calls and so on. The question is, do I really want Active Armor notifications to come to the watch when the phone's asleep? Or do I always want the notifications to come to the phone, even if the phone is asleep? This particular app, I really don't need to see the notifications on the watch. I think I'd rather just see them on the phone. So I'm going to turn this off.
On. Active Armor. Switched button. On. Off.
Now it's off. I double tapped it.
Affirm. Switched button. On.
That's another one I don't really...
Off. Akinator. Switched button. Off.
Some of these I've already turned off. Akinator, that's a game. Yeah, I only want that on the phone, not the watch.
Amazon Alexa. Switched button. Off.
Yeah, only get
Double
that on the
tap
phone.
to American Idol. Switched
Let me
button.
give you a real good example of one here that I...
Barclays. Best Bible. BLB. Blink. Burger King.
Oh.
Blink. Switched button. On.
I actually want to turn Blink
Double tap to toggle
off.
setting.
I don't want that on the watch, and I'll explain why.
Off.
Go down.
Business. Canary. Switched
Yeah.
button. Off.
Canary is off. All right, let's go back
Matthews Apple
and let me
Watch.
explain to you what we're seeing here.
Notification. Home. Freeform.
So again, first of all, to set the
3
stage,
p.m.
remember that this has to do specifically with
3 p.m.
notifications that come to your phone, and either there's not an Apple Watch app or there is an Apple Watch app, but it doesn't give notifications. You can have them mirrored to your watch so that when your phone is asleep or the screen is locked, the watch will get the notifications and not the phone. The phone will also have the notifications, but they won't sound on the phone. They'll sound on the watch. Now, you can go to your phone and see the notifications if you'd prefer to, but they're actually going to sound on the watch. Unless the phone is awake, then they'll sound on the phone. Well, Canary is a perfect example of a situation where I don't want that to be the case. Because Canary has a very special, unique sound for its notifications. It's this melodic chirp sound that I know right away it's Canary. And if my notifications are being mirrored to the watch when the phone is asleep, I won't hear that sound. I'll hear whatever my watch sound is for notifications. Now, a version or two ago, a year or two ago, Apple added the ability to have a number of different and to choose the notification sounds. For years, there was only like one notification sound, one messages sound, and so on the watch. Now that's much more robust. You can pick from a bunch of different sounds for notifications, for mail, for messages. So praise God, there's a lot of great notification sounds. But it still doesn't have my Canary sound. That's just in the iPhone app. So I really don't want Canary notifications coming to the watch because it'll prevent me, if the phone's asleep, from hearing the actual Canary sound. That's why I have that off. Now, similarly, I said to you I want to turn Blink off, and I said I'd explain why. It's for a slightly different reason. I don't know what the Blink sound is yet on the phone because I haven't set up our Blink doorbell, but maybe it has a doorbell sound. I don't know. But the main reason that I don't want it coming to the watch is because if I had to guess, and I could be completely wrong, and I'd be happy to, admit that if that's the case, but if I had to guess, I would suspect that you can't really interact with the Blink doorbell from the watch anyway, because there's not a Blink app for the watch. Remember, we didn't hear that app installed on the watch. So if I get the Blink notification on my watch, is it going to let me talk to the person who's at my front door? Is it going to let me do anything to... No, it's not, chances are. I'm going to have to do that from my iPhone anyway. So why should I have the notification come to my watch when I'm going to have to use my iPhone anyhow to interact with that person? So... not only that, but there might be a different sound for Blink. I don't know. As I said, I sort of think there is because my Our cousins have a Blink doorbell, and I think it may make the doorbell sound on the phone app, but I really couldn't be sure of that. But again, that's just one more reason why I'd rather have the notifications not come to the watch at all for Blink and only come to the phone. I've given you these examples to say go into your notifications and make it the way you want it. It's personal preference here. I'm not telling you you have to do it the way I'm doing it. I'm just saying you should go and know that you have the options so you can decide what notifications you want to come to your watch, what ones you want to only come to your phone. And always remember, if your phone is awake, the notifications will come to your phone anyway. All right, so this has been a sort of overview of watch faces, complications, notifications, widgets, control center, the basics. On Wednesday, we're going to go a little bit farther. We're going to go further and talk about some of the apps specifically on the watch and what they do. Right now, I'm going to see if Trainer Sarah's here and get any comments from her and take your questions. Before we do that, I'm going to turn off original sound.
Add more. Host apps, audio settings, personalized audio isolation, audio mic noise removal.
All right, let's see. We got a great crowd here, praise God. Let's see if I see Trainer Rita also. Maybe she wants to say a thing or two. We'll go ahead and unmute her in a moment too. Let me get Sarah here. And then I'll go ahead and unmute Rita also. If she wants to say anything, it's up to her.
I was hoping you would unmute her too.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Yeah. So what are your, and I did send Rita an unmute request now. What are your, typical use cases for the watch?
Mostly, besides telling time, mostly it's for workouts, how many steps I've taken. I do yoga workouts. I use it for the timer. But one of the things I really like about it is the steps. It will tell you how you're walking. So I broke my foot last summer and, I was trying to get back on a steady gait after I was out of the cast. And, it basically, I worked on it. It has a double support time. So you're only supposed to have your weight on one foot at a time or as much as you can. And so I worked on that, but also you want to be steady from, foot to foot. You don't want to be rocking
Yes.
or limping.
Right.
And it will tell you, what your percentage is and how well you're doing.
And on Wednesday, if you're with us, maybe if you're willing, you could give us a little more details about that too. Because on Wednesday, I'm going to go into some of the different apps, and that would be one that I don't actually do, but I would be anxious for you to share that with. Excited for you to share that with everybody,
Sure.
and I can tell you that my dad talks about that too, because he sometimes will get notifications that say, that like he might be at risk of falling or something. Like it does. It really pays attention to that stuff.
Right. And I actually had to turn off the falling part of it because since I have a guide dog on my left and my watch is on my left, it kept thinking that I had fallen because,
Right.
I'm reaching down for the dog.
Right.
I go down a step, and it thinks I'm falling.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I turned that one off. But I also have I do have my watch mirrored to my iPhone, but one thing I know a lot of people use the wallet on their watch. I don't like it on there. It's still on there, but I hardly use it. It's just I have my phone on me anyway, so I'll use my phone. I'd rather. I don't know if you use your watch for the wallet app at all.
I actually do, and
Yeah.
that's another one of those I'll get into more on Wednesday. But yes, I actually do use it, in and especially in the spring and summer or early fall when I'm not wearing a coat, because you go to the restaurant and it's time to pay and it's so easy. I can just hold my wrist up to the reader, press the what you
Right.
do, folks, is, and again, we'll get into it more Wednesday, but what you do is you double click that long side button to bring up your Apple Pay, and then you can use it like your phone, just hold it up to the reader. This time of year, it's not very practical because typically by the time I'm paying the bill, I have my coat on, and so that's I joke that it's like astronaut gear. I think I mentioned this last week that I said when we went to play in the snow, you get a big heavy coat on, you get heavy boots on, you get snow pants, all of these things, not in that order, of course, but you you get them
Yeah.
all on. And I said, it's like an astronaut suiting up. I said, I want to sit down and take a rest before we go outside. But
Yeah.
that big heavy coat kind of gets in the way of the watch, being most useful at those moments. So right now I'm
Yeah.
pulling
It's
out
hard
my
to
phone.
answer your phone
Yeah,
when you're all
yeah.
zipped up. Yeah. I've
So I'm
tried
doing
it.
Apple Pay on
And
the phone mostly right now, but in the
right.
spring and summer I do
Yeah.
sometimes use. It
Yeah.
just depends, but yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not, again, one of those things where you have that option.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but because the wallet is on there, I have to, unlock it constantly. I have to put the password in.
Oh,
Do you not have yours passcoded or
well,
passworded?
it is, but it once you put the watch on and enter your passcode once, it is supposed to not require you to do that again until you take the watch off. It's supposed to
Uh,
be able to
mine,
detect. Yeah, that's what
mine.
that's what I'm puzzling about over here. That was the hesitation
Yeah,
because I'm
maybe it's
wondering.
because I keep shutting it up. I keep putting my hand over it to shut it up, so it gets mad at me, and it's like,
I
okay,
don't know.
now
I mean, is it
you
is
have to
it
use the password.
is it very loose fitting? Like, is it
No, it's just that when you have your if like the let when you're wearing a winter coat, any kind of
right?
jacket,
Right.
it touches it and it starts it talking.
Maybe
And
it's like
so,
losing contact with your skin and then coming back. You know what I mean? Because the coat's like pushing it out of the way or something, and
well, it's
therefore,
just the contact on the screen and it just keeps talking. So it'll start talking, I'll shut it up. It keeps talking, I'll shut it up. And, I will turn the speech off,
right,
which
right.
is, super easy, the 3-finger double tap. But um, I don't know what it is. Maybe every time I don't know. It,
I
it,
don't
it
know.
keeps turning
We're
its
gonna have to.
speech on, and
I'm
I think it
curious
just
about
has
that
it
one
out for
now.
me.
Yeah, I don't know. You might just be an anomaly. What can I say?
I am. That is very true. I heard Rita. She
Hi,
is
Rita. How you doing?
cackling.
Yes.
How are
Hello,
you
everyone.
feeling?
I'm hanging in there. I was like speaking of that fall alert issue. I was just on a cruise and the ship was listing quite a lot. I mean, a lot. Like people were slamming up against the walls at a couple of points, and these alerts were coming off on people's watches. It was
Oh,
unbelievable.
funny.
Yeah, and
Where did you go on a cruise? I'm curious now.
the West Caribbean,
Oh, okay.
Mexico and Honduras and long story.
Okay. All
And
right.
and so the watch is just, I think it's an amazing supplement to your life. And the more you use it, I think the more you'll find that you have the potential to keep using it. Because if you find something that you can do quickly on your watch without having to look at your phone, then you've got access, like, oh, what's on my calendar for today? So you open your Apple Watch and you see the calendar and you double tap it and boom, there's your list of events. And these are so customizable. And these faces, once somebody creates a face that they really like the infograph face that Matt was showing, it's got the most complications. You can get up to 8 complications on that face for different options. And it's just, you create this face, it's very yours. And but then you can share that with someone else, another Apple Watch user, share that
That's right.
face. So that is really cool. And there's a way to navigate between the faces that Matt will show you. There's a lot of things here that I think people are not aware of. And if they start using them, it will enhance your life.
Yes,
And you,
absolutely.
Rita, you have yours mirrored to your phone as well?
I do,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I don't like receiving a lot of sounds on my watch. I do have there's a setting for chime or a beep, or it's a bird call or a chime, I think, for the hourly
Yes, that's
announcement.
right.
You can
Yep.
turn that on. And then you can also have wrist orientation, if you want to wear the watch on, but you need to set that up in settings to make sure
That's right.
you've got it on it knows which wrist it's on, right?
And
I had
the
when I changed mine, it was on my right wrist, and I had to go in and change that to the
and
left.
that's the wrist orientation is in your settings. The birds and the bells, that's under the clock settings or the accessibility settings. You can find it in both places. And I actually have mine set to the birds. And so every hour on the hour, it makes a little, unless you have, do not disturb on or something, but it makes a little, bird sound. And there's different birds. I don't know if it actually has 12 different bird sounds, but there's definitely a difference between like 1 o'clock and certain other times, and it makes a little bird chirp, and it's not something super noticeable. I mean, if you have any other sound going on around you, other people won't even hear it. If you maybe had a completely silent room, somebody might hear it, but it's not one of these, like the back in the days where there used to be, bong, it's 1 o'clock. It's nothing like that. It's a little, it's not even going to bother anybody. I mean, it's just real subtle. But
I
yeah,
can't do that because my father used to have his phone on that, and
right.
it it always felt like you'd be in the middle of a sentence and his watch would go off,
Oh, they were very intrusive. There's no question about
right,
it.
and and our feeling was, what, we're not being interesting enough.
Mm.
It was, when I was a kid, I liked it because it was fun to have something that randomly made these chime noises. I had that, you probably remember that like cube looking clock, and it made like boom, boom, boom. It's 1 p.m. And then it boom. Oh, yeah, I mean, it just would, but I thought it was the greatest thing as a kid. But, looking at it now, it definitely was very, I mean, some people might even call it obnoxious, to be honest with you. But,
The way
it was.
my father used it. Yes.
Now, Rita, where do we go? Because I was thinking about this, and I think that someone actually pointed it out to us because you and I were looking for it last year with the team here. But
It's under
talking
it's
about
under clock you're talking about switching between
switching
faces
between,
with
right?
a two finger swipe left or right.
So it's under
Um,
clock settings. Okay.
yes, it
Okay.
was under, at least it was last year.
Okay. All right.
So we'll need
What?
to look at that.
Yeah.
But the gesture as it stands out of the box, if you want to switch between faces, is a long press, one finger double tap and hold, and that'll bring up your options for your different faces. So if you've only got one face, then
Right.
obviously you can't switch between faces, right?
Right.
Uh,
Or the
so
rotor. That's the other way. The long press or the rotor. Either way will get you to the customized. But
correct.
right, what she's talking about is that if you have a bunch of faces or even two, and you want to switch between them, you can use the scroll. You can set it up. You have to enable this setting, but you can set it up so that the scroll gesture, which on the watch is 2 fingers, you don't do 3 finger scrolls on the watch because I guess they figure the screen size sort of prohibits that, or makes it more challenging. But you scroll 2 fingers left or right. If the setting is on, it will switch you between your watch faces. And speaking of that, I know people probably are wondering about typing on the watch and stuff. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. But yes, you can set it up so you can scroll with 2 fingers between to switch watch faces.
Yes. The more you're exposed to how a blind person can access their watch and all these features with voiceover running, and voiceover can be running right out of the box. As soon as you turn on the watch, it lights up with the Apple Watch, it initializes. 3 finger with the crown.
Three clicks,
Clicks
triple
with a
click the
crown.
crown. Yep.
Turns on voiceover automatically.
Yep.
So this is doable to set up.
Oh yeah.
And it there's a lot of functions, I think, that, that sighted people have no idea, like pinging their, phone, or putting it in theater mode, or water lock, or, there's
Yes.
all these different features that are available on the watches that are completely accessible with VoiceOver.
Yep.
I suggest you keep the watch as simple as possible. I don't load a lot of apps on my watch because I'm using my phone so much. But if there's certain apps you want to access real quickly, and they have a equivalent for an Apple Watch app, download it. You'll be amazed, how
Right.
quickly you can get things done.
Right.
So.
And
You
just
guys, my ride is here.
your ride
so
is here. Okay. All right.
Have fun.
All right. Well, we'll talk.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.